I'm Professor Alan Rice. I'm a professor of English at the University of Central Oklahoma, and I have with me today a team of ragtag adventurers that we like to call the Boomers. What we are going to do today is we're going to explore the mystery of the Spooklights. Is it something mystical? Some say it is a door to another universe. Is it something ghostly? Some people say that it was a Native American Romeo and Juliet who, heartbroken, died not at being able to culminate their love, and one or the other of them is looking for their lost love. Some people say it was a prospector who his family was massacred, and heartbroken, he's still carrying a lantern looking for his family. Others say it was a Native American chief, or perhaps a medicine man, who somehow died and his head was severed, and he wanders these strange hills holding his head as it glows like a lantern. What is the truth? We're going to investigate. Why don't you come with us?
Actual or mythical, rational or mystical. We're a ragtag band scouring through the land, tracking down a mystery in folklore or in history. In the middle of the chase, we're the Boomers, and we're on the case.
On a Friday or Saturday night, this lonely stretch of road often has dozens of cars out here, everybody clamoring to get a glimpse of the Spooklights. Most nights, you'll never see them. Some nights, if you're lucky and the moon is just right, or you hold your tongue perfectly, you'll get to see a glimpse of them. And then some nights, they're spectacular and they're frightening. Imagine going to the extreme northeastern corner of Oklahoma, following the Missouri border south about 8 miles, and then turning west 3 miles on E50. This is the hot zone. Why? We don't know. Some people have had first-hand accounts of it moving from left to right across their lawn as they live here, and the hair on their arms standing up. Online, I have seen a Joplin, Missouri camera crew film it and say that when they looked back, it had risen up into the sky and was hovering. Everyone seems to have a different experience. Is it mystical or is it scientific? The Army Corps of Engineers have investigated it in 1946. Popular Mechanics did so, the magazine, in 1965. Also in the 60s, University of Arkansas professor investigated it. He had a more scientific answer. It is just a distant light fixed in place. But why does it move? And what about before there were automobiles? What about before there were modern lights?
And perhaps the strangest part of the mystery is that once you see the Spooklights, when you try to go toward them in a car or by foot, they always disappear.
We keep exploring the mystery. But the essence of the Spooklights is looking to the west on this road, a cell tower. At the base of the cell tower and to the left is where everybody, when you go online, all the YouTube, all the videos, all the pictures, the camera crews here from Joplin, they always look in the same place to see this strange orb. And it is exactly there. The cell tower at the top has a red blinking light. Below it, twin lights like a spider bite. And below that and to the left, if you're lucky, or maybe if you're not lucky, you will see what extremely eerie, strange, hair on the back of your head stand up, the Spooklights. We have seen them. The Spooklights are traditionally at the base of this cell tower and a little bit to the left. Now why they're there, who knows? There's the cell tower. So I'm going to go down and to the left. There they are. There are the Spooklights right there. Do you see that light? So that light right there. I wish that light were bright. I wish it were dimmer. There, it's dimmer. I wish it were bright again. There, it's bright again. I wish it were dimmer again. There, it's dimmer again. I wish it were bright again. There, it's brighter again. You know what would be really great is if that light would change color. That light, oh, look at it. It's red now. It's changing color. This is a miracle. I wish it weren't changing color anymore. I wish it were just bright again. I'm controlling the Spooklights. I wish it were darker again. I wish the lights would go darker. I wish they would go brighter again.
Gotta go.
This is a Christmas miracle. We have controlled the Spooklights. Boo!
So how in the world can the boomers be controlling the Spooklights? Because we have discovered the source. We know where the Spooklights originate from, and we know what the Spooklights are. In a minute, we'll be taking you where they originate from, but now it's time for the big reveal. This is what you've been waiting for. Now we're going to tell you exactly what the Spooklights are. This is the answer to the mystery of the Spooklights. Wait for it. The Spooklights are car headlights and car taillights. Car headlights?
We're at the Ogapa Learning Center, just west of Quapaw, Oklahoma. We're now about 5 miles west of Spooklight Road, also called the Devil's Promenade. And right to my left, you're going to see some car headlights. Those were the headlights that we were filming earlier and that were going on and off. There is the red filters when I asked for color. We are at the junction of Highway 137 and E50 Road, just west of Quapaw, Oklahoma. We are at north 36 degrees, 56.62 minutes, west 94 degrees, 47.227 minutes, and this is exactly where you can be if you want to recreate the Spooklights just like the boomers did.
Here we are on the same stretch of road during the daytime in the cool light of reason. It's no longer the Devil's Promenade. It's no longer Spooklight Road. It's just common, ordinary E50 with farmhouses on each side and some trees and some hills and brush. And in the cool light of reason, we want to address two big questions relating to the Spooklights. One, why is it on some nights you come out and you just can't see it, but on other nights you come out and you can? And secondly, why is it that when you see it and you get in a car and you start driving toward it, that it magically, mysteriously disappears? Even if you have two groups, one who stays and continues to see it, and the other group who tries to get closer, for this group it disappears, but for this group it may remain. These are mysteries we can address in the daytime.
Here we are in the daytime filming exactly the same scenery from the same position as we did last night. Straight ahead and slightly to the right, you may be able to see the blinking of the cell towers. Now, from here, you can actually sometimes see the Spooklights. And the reason is that we are here on a high hill, and the lights from the headlights from the distant highway, which is also on a high hill, lines up perfectly in a straight line so that we can see it on the hilltop. But if we walk down into that valley, if we're pursuing the Spooklights by driving forward, we dip below the crown of the hill, we dip into the valley, and we lose the Spooklights because they can only be seen from the tops of the hills. There are only 3 or 4 hills on this Spooklight road that you can see the Spooklights from, and you cannot see them in the valleys. That proves this mystical thing is just oncoming headlights.
So the boomers have made a significant discovery, but we in no way want to suggest that people's actual experiences on the Devil's Promenade, on Spooklight Road, are any less amazing. When you are actually watching it, it does appear to be this strange glowing ball that moves toward you. It's actually an optical illusion, so it doesn't look like lights on a distant horizon. It actually looks like it's in the middle of the road, in the middle of a hill coming toward you. But part of the folklore mythology helps to perpetuate the mysticism. For example, you're always told to look at it several miles, 2 or 3 miles to the east of here, near the Missouri border, because you're further away from the source of the light, and it obscures the double headlight, or 2 different sets of headlight effect into one ball. They always say it's better if it's misty, which gives it that mystic ambiance rather than the clarity of just saying, look, it's just a road. If you look behind me, we are now past the first cell tower, almost to the second cell tower. We're near a farm. God bless that farmer, because we were flashing lights in the middle of the night last night. But if you look behind me, you can probably see the last cell tower. This is the highest hill that's furthest west. You can't go any further because you dip down into a valley. You can no longer see the distant headlights, and there's a forest directly in front of us, because the road E50 ends here, and it begins again 4 miles on the other side of the forest. You actually have to take a jag to the left, a road that parallels E50, and come back to it. So the lights from the distant E50 shooting this way are only possible on the high hills. And when you pursue it, it disappears. So this is the best vantage point to see that it's just a highway. And in fact, during the daytime, if you want to come and you have a binoculars or a telephoto lens on your camera, you can just go to where the Spooklight is supposed to be, and what you will see clearly is a highway with headlights. There are even yellow blinking lights underneath a train overpass which crosses the highway. You can see it clearly here. Absolute proof. The Spooklights are headlights. Now we are at the location we were last night, where we met up with our other boomers, where they were the ones flashing the headlights on and off and using the red filters on the headlights. If you look down this street in the great distance, the camera won't pick it up, you can see the distant cell tower where we were sitting looking this direction about 5 miles ago. Remember, the 2 E50s line up perfectly, but there's a giant forest in the middle. Now, just so you know where we're at, if you go this way, this is State Road 137, and this E50, if you look in the great distance, you can see the flashing yellow lights. These are the flashing yellow lights that with binoculars you can see all the way from the Devil's Promenade. The other thing of note is that even though we set up here with the headlights, this is a long stretch of highway going up US 69 for probably about 2 miles. It's a long ramp going up. We believe it's likely that any of the headlights from any cars coming all the way down this long hill to this point could be the ambience
of the Spooklights. That's why sometimes there's 2 lights, sometimes there's 4, sometimes they split off in different directions. But this is the closest point we know of where if you flash your headlights, you can see it, and that is the Spooklights.
Actual or mythical, rational or mystical. The mystery of the Spooklights turn out to be both actual and rational. In other words, the answer is scientific. And good science is always reproducible. So how can people prove for themselves the boomers are correct? Well, try to see the Spooklights at the bottom of a hill on State Road E50. If you can't see them, the boomers are correct. Or stand at the top of a hill on State Road E50 and see if you can see the Spooklights more often during 5 p.m. rush hour traffic than you can at 3 a.m. If that's generally true, then the boomers are correct. Or do like the boomers did and flash your headlights at the junction of E50 and Highway 137 and have others see the flashing on the Devil's Promenade. It is possible that someday that experiment might not work, however. But that doesn't prove the boomers wrong. You see, we conducted our experiment in December in the dead of winter when there were no leaves on the trees. It is possible that when the leaves return or when the forest grows taller, that flashing headlights might not be able to be seen from Spooklight Road. What's the remedy? It's simple. Move your car to higher ground, higher up the ramp of E50 and US 69, and try flashing the headlights there. When you see the flashing all the way from Spooklight Road, you will prove once again that the boomers got incredibly lucky and have finally solved the 100-year-old unsolvable mystery.
Spooklight Road, the Devil's Promenade, is not just a physical phenomenon that you can see. It's also a source of local pride and tourism. There's a packet that you can get at the local Joplin library where the librarian has collected everything about Spooklight Road for decades and decades. There was a Spooklight museum there, I think in the 1950s. So this is a source of local pride. People like to go out there and take their best girl or best guy and look for the Spooklights. So after all these years, decades of research, the boomers have finally solved the case. And of all the groups that came the closest, it was Robert Gannon in September 1965 with Popular Mechanics. In fact, we didn't read this article. This is how good as scholars we were. We didn't read this until months after we did our investigation. And what's interesting is they came to essentially the same conclusions. They even used the same red filters that we later reinventing the wheel did. What is the difference between the two groups? He is a little bit vague about where on that road, in those days called Route 66, the lights originated from, and he did not have what we have, video proof. So hats off to Popular Mechanics, but the question is, since they essentially solved it in the 1960s, why do people still say it's such a mystery? We, as the boomers, want everyone to know this is now solved, at least when you're looking there directly to the west. We recognize that by proving that the Spooklights that everyone looks at is just oncoming headlights or taillights from a distant road, we are not going to be the most popular people in that part of the state. We recognize that. We recognize that we kind of accidentally popped the party balloon that everyone was enjoying. That wasn't our intention. We went there as wide-eyed as anyone, wanting to see whatever we could see. But keep in mind, there may still be some mystery on the Devil's Promenade. Why? Because we haven't addressed all
of the folklore issues. For example, when the light travels from right to left and the hair stands up on your arms, is that someone sort of adding to what they actually see, or was it an experience? We don't know. What about people who say that the light goes up into the sky? Well, certainly our experience, that isn't going to be true, but there was a camera crew that said that that was true. We're skeptical, but we don't know. What about before there were cars? Well, we don't know. We suspect that perhaps the same optical illusion could have happened with a campfire located roughly in that direction. It still would have looked sort of spooky and alien, but we're not certain. So we have addressed the main thing that everyone says is the spook light, but we have not solved all of the possible mysteries. So what about the guy or the girl who wants to take their significant other out to the road and see something marvelous? Have we spoiled that? No. Just don't look straight down the road to the west. Look all around you. There may still be marvels to see. In fact, if nothing else, both of you can stare in rapt wonder straight upward into the black starry heavens and see wonders.